Law of attraction helps us to shift our thinking in order to manage our vibration, in order for us to attract into our life the results that we want.
Welcome to the My Future Business Show, where we get you in front of your best audience and keep you there. Not only are we interviewing the biggest names in business to help you become even more successful, we're inviting you to book your spot on the show to help you grow your business. So at the end of the call, make sure you fill in the interview application form at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. Hello, and welcome back to the My Future Business Show. I hope you're doing well. Thank you so very much for joining us. And while I'm thinking about you, thank you so very much for all of the support that you've been providing and the feedback. I love reading through it each and every day. It just makes so much of a difference knowing that the show is making a difference for you. Now, on today's show, I have the pleasure of welcoming author, speaker, and law of attraction expert, Zehra Mahoon. Welcome to the show, Zehra.
I'm excited to be here. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, my pleasure. Now, you and I, we're going to be talking about how you help business owners and entrepreneurs create balance and reach their highest success and ultimate joy using the law of attraction. Now, this is a very deep topic that can go multiple directions. So before we do that, it's customary for us, Zehra, to spend a bit of time learning a little bit about you. So first things first, where are you calling in from today?
Toronto, Canada.
Toronto, beautiful. What's the weather like there at the moment?
Beautiful.
Yes.
It is absolutely gorgeous.
Now tell me, what do you love about the place? Do you love walking? What's your thing?
Yes, I do. I think we have so much natural beauty, trees. It's just beautiful.
Absolutely.
And that's what I love.
And, you know, we're going to be talking about the law of attraction. I think how you position yourself and where you position yourself on this beautiful, wide, wonderful world of ours has all a part to play with how I guess you feel about your space in the world. But tell us a little bit about the things you like to do. Do you like to go out and socialize? What's the other part of your life like outside of business?
Well, being a mother is a very important part of my life. And so I have two children, and I am very involved with what is happening in their lives, and we are very close as a family. I also have two cats and a dog.
Oh, beautiful.
Yeah. And so that, and then I have a very, very good network of friends.
Excellent. Thank you very much. Thank you very much
Yeah.
for sharing it. Tell us a little bit about the type of dog you've got. I'm a dog lover myself.
I have a Labradoodle.
Oh, Labradoodle. Fantastic. Is he smart?
She is very smart.
Yes.
She's mid-sized. She's a mid-sized Labradoodle. She is such a friendly, beautiful, beautiful soul. Yes.
Absolutely. And, you know, they can make, I guess, a grey day seem so much brighter, can't they?
Absolutely. They're very loving, very affectionate. And I just love having her around.
Yes, thank you again for sharing. Now, tell us a little about cuisine. Do you have a particular food that you like? Do you like going out for dinner and that sort of thing?
Yes, I do. I love going out, and I love cooking as well. And I like foods from all over the world.
Fantastic.
I love trying different things, and yes,
Are you a good cook, do you think?
I am fabulous. I'm not good.
What would have to be your favorite dish, do you think?
Oh, it doesn't matter. It's whatever I'm cooking. I just love cooking. Yes.
Well, speaking about your children, and I guess if we can roll back the pages of time a little bit and talk about your childhood, tell us a little bit about what your life was like growing up.
My life was, I think I was a confused child. And I was quite happy, but I had lots of questions. And I think it was because of the dichotomy of the atmosphere I lived in, because I went to a Catholic convent school and I lived in a Muslim country with Muslim parents. And the messages that I was getting at school and at home, and not so much at home because my parents weren't that dichotomous, but in society, the messages that I was getting were very, very different from what I learned at school. So I had lots of questions and I wasn't getting the answers for it, and it was confusing. it was very confusing to me. The discrimination, or not discrimination because that's not the right word, but
Mm.
the difference in beliefs was so black and white
Yep.
that I couldn't adjust. I couldn't make sense of it. I couldn't make sense of why a certain group of people, just based on their religion, would be considered better than other people, or
Mm.
why, why would there be a difference from the point of view of that entity that we call God? Why is God going to look at two, in my opinion, really nice people and condemn one and send the other one to heaven? So I had lots of questions,
Mm.
and I didn't, in my environment there were no answers,
So,
because I mean every group thought they were right.
yes, of course. Yeah, and we see that, don't we? And that seems to be the source of much conflict. And, I think that if we've got 2 feet and a heartbeat, we're all very much the same, aren't we?
Yes, we are all the same.
Mm.
And so I had all these questions, and as I went through life, I collected more questions, and I was hungry for the answers.
Mm.
And my own life journey actually took me to a place where I put in the time and the effort to learn in order to find peace.
Find
Because
peace.
at the end of the day, you want peace within. And in order to find that peace, if you have questions and you don't have the answers to them, you cannot find peace.
No, you need to find the answer, don't you? Now, later on the call, we're going to be talking about some prominent people as it relates to the law of attraction. But following on from what you've just shared with us, which I'm absolutely loving, thank you so much. I'm wondering who in your life did, I guess, in your earlier formative years, as you were trying to seek these solutions, were you looking to? Were there any
Well,
particular people?
initially it was my parents and the nuns at school.
Mm.
Um, and because I didn't find satisfactory answers, I stopped asking them questions. And then I found mentors. When I got to universities, when I found mentors,
Mm.
that's when I started looking beyond the confines of the nuns at school and parents at home,
Yes.
and the radio and television and the media in general. So when I got to university, I had excellent professors who encouraged me and started providing me with literature.
Hmm.
And they would just say, oh, you should really read this book. Here, take it, you can borrow it and give it back to us. And so that is how I embarked on studying nonfiction. Prior to that, I loved fiction. I was all into mystery and romance. I had never tasted philosophy or,
Mm.
modern thought. And so my professors are responsible for that. My finance professor, my marketing professor, all of them, they all gave me books. And when I got to the work environment in the corporate world, my bosses, my supervisors gave me books. So they helped my journey along. If it wasn't for them, I would not have come across the literature that I did come across, and was able to expand my understanding and start seeking more of that
What
information.
what I'm taking away from this is that your academic exposure and your exposure to so many different perspectives helps to form, I guess, the pieces of the puzzle together. Do you think that's a fair
Yeah.
statement?
That's right. And part of it has to do with traveling with my parents to different countries in the world, because
Mm.
my father's work took him to different places, and meeting people from different cultures. And I remember thinking, even as a child, I don't see a difference, because even as a child, I could see that people everywhere were the same.
Yes, absolutely loving this feedback, and I think to myself, when I talk with somebody like yourself, you've taken a journey into the law of attraction, and it's become embedded in your life in a big way. I think there's going to
Yes.
be a few people on this call that would love to learn, I guess, firstly about what you studied at university, just for context, as well as your professional background and how it was that you got involved with the law of attraction, which was omnipresent anyway, wasn't it?
Well, I have a very interesting academic background, in the sense that I went to college for pre-medical studies and ended up going to medical school, dropped out, and studied microbiology instead. And so I did my undergraduates with a major in microbiology.
Right.
And then I shifted because my parents traveled and would not allow me to go to school on my own. So I traveled with them, and as it happened, I had to change my line. So I ended up doing my master's in microbiology and
Mm.
then shifted into business.
Isn't it
And
funny?
then studied business.
Isn't it funny how we do one course of study, then all of a sudden we realise we either don't like it or it's not a good fit for us.
Yeah, 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 yeah. So, but I loved it all. I absolutely loved microbiology when I was studying it. I wanted to go into research. And when I started studying business, I loved that as well. I think I just have always been a sponge for knowledge. So you give me whatever and I will devour it and enjoy it thoroughly because
Yes.
I just love learning.
Yeah, that's great feedback. Now, in all of this, I wonder, what was that moment in time, and what was the exposure that one event that introduced you to the law of attraction as a rule that you could, I guess, embed into your life?
So the thing is, it started being called Law of Attraction when the movie The Secret came out. But it's something that's been around for a very long time. So even before The Secret came out, I was listening to Deepak Chopra and Wayne Dyer and, Norman Vincent Peale and Napoleon Hill, and they were all talking about what is now called Law of Attraction. So I was already well on the journey, but I started calling it the law of attraction once everyone else started calling it the law of attraction. In fact, in my first meeting with law of attraction was I was confused. I was like, law of attraction must have something to do with romance. So what is this thing? What is this thing everyone is calling law of attraction? It must be about
Makes
romance.
sense.
And so I actually wasn't interested at all in going to watch The Secret because I thought it had to do with romance. And then I discovered that it does not have, in
Anything
fact,
to
to do
do.
with,
What could?
and it could,
Yes,
yes, it
yes.
could, but that was not the primary
Yes, yes. I
subject
understand. I
and
understand.
matter. And so then there was like, oh, this is old stuff, rebranded. It's rebranding and repackaging, something that people
Yes.
in marketing are very familiar with.
Absolutely. Now you've touched on some, and we'll continue on in a moment, but you've touched on some fairly prominent names in the quote unquote law of attraction space. Now I'm wondering if I may ask you, what do you think about the likes of Tony Robbins and Bob Proctor, who's very well known for his work with the law of attraction?
Yes, they are extremely well known and they have contributed a lot to the space. I am not a fan of either one of them.
Mm.
And for no particular reason
No.
except
Yep.
that
Yep.
but I do respect the work that they've done because I respect the number of lives that they have touched and changed, and they have absolutely done that. It's just that their way of speaking does not appeal to my way of learning.
Ah, yes, and we're going to be talking about that in some detail in a moment. But before we do, I know that you've obviously had a lot of experience with NLP and you're a level 2 Reiki and a quantum touch. And quantum touch, I'm wondering if we could start there and ask you, what is quantum
Mhm.
touch?
It's pretty much the same thing as Reiki without the ritual.
Oh, okay. Because you've also gone on to become a Psych K facilitator. Tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about that.
Psych K is very interesting because it works with using NLP to change belief systems.
Right.
So NLP uses hypnosis to change belief systems, and Psyche takes it one step further with sort of bridging some of the work that we do in law of attraction using tools that are hypnosis and NLP based. So they are just shades. They are shades of the same thing.
Ah,
They're
understood.
it's people attempting to improve techniques and offer techniques in different ways to help people who might learn differently. That's all.
Isn't it interesting? I think about marketing, which you've had exposure to, and I think about pre-framing. Then I think about NLP. It's about
Yeah.
positioning a person's mindset so that
Yes,
you can, I guess, influence them to do what you want them to do. Tell us a little
absolutely.
bit about this fascinating process, because I know there'd be a lot of people that would like to know more.
Well, the thing is, a belief is just a thought. And NLP has when you study NLP, you master the method for introducing a thought into someone else's thought process in a way that they will accept it. So
Yes.
you help people by giving them an injection of a different perspective, which they on their own may not be able to get.
See,
So
we talked about earlier all of your exposure to different elements, different people, different situations that would help you get a well rounded perspective of life as you see it. Now, how
mhm.
does that apply to the law of attraction? And let's start talking about what the law of attraction actually is.
Well, I think all of my background helps me to understand law of attraction
Hmm.
and teach law of attraction and use strategies that are appropriate for all the varied different types of people that I meet and teach. So all of it plays together. What law of attraction is very simple. Law of attraction is a body of knowledge that helps us understand how we think and how to shift our thinking in order to manage our vibration, our vibe,
Hmm.
in order for us to attract into our life the results that we want.
And
So it comes, sorry, go ahead.
no, and that applies to anything in our
It
lives?
applies to it applies to everything.
Mm.
So it's the difference comes from rather than making something happen, allowing things to happen, which is something that you really need to wrap your head around because that's not what we learn as we go through school. That's not what we learn as we go through our work lives. We are taught to make things happen. And law of attraction teaches us almost the reverse.
You can't force it, can you?
You can't force it. You have to allow it. So everything that you want is possible provided that you allow it. And so to understand the vibrational part of it, I'll give you an example. This thinking helped me to really get it. Um, Law of attraction, as explained by Abraham Hicks, says that there are three steps to the creation process, manifesting of anything that you want in life.
Hmm.
One, you ask. Number two, source, the universe, assembles everything that is needed to get you what you want. And number three, you allow. Those are the three steps. I've altered them a little bit to help
Mm.
my own understanding. And in my own understanding, step one is still you ask. Step two is trust. And step three is allow. So because while the universe is assembling all the components needed in order for things to happen the way you want them to, you've got to trust. So that's why in my mind, those are the three steps. The secret sauce is that as long as you're asking, then you cannot step into step two and you cannot step into step three. So if you hold yourself in the asking, nothing further can happen. And the way I got to understand this concept and make a shift that works for me is by understanding that when you go to an exam, if
Mm.
you keep reading the question over and over again and never shift into trusting that you know the answer and at least start writing something, then nothing can happen.
Ah.
Right? So you have to shift from the asking question mode into the answer mode in order for you to complete the task that you're doing. As long as you hold yourself repeatedly in asking the question over and
And
over
over and
again,
over.
the answer cannot come.
It cannot come, and this is why you need somebody like yourself to guide people. You mentioned the word trust a little while back, and I think
Yes.
the thing that comes off that for me is does faith play a part in this? Obviously, it does. But also, what about those people with low confidence, low senses of self confidence? You know, they're not asking necessarily wrong questions, yet bad things seems to happen. Why is that?
Yeah. It's because law of attraction will give you whatever you pay attention to. Attention. Attention is the magnet, not intention. So I always like to use this differentiation point because most people think, well, I intended this, so why didn't it happen? Well, you were intending it, but when you were worrying, you were paying attention to the opposite of what you intended. And wherever energy flows, that's
Results
what.
go.
Yes, that's right. Wherever your attention goes, energy flows. So if you're giving your attention to it, that is what you're going to manifest because that's what you're giving your energy to. So give your energy to your intention, and that is in fact trust because you have to stop worrying. Worry is taking you away from your intention and putting your energy in the wrong place.
There'd be a lot of people out there that have I guess, a thought profile, for lack of better ways to put it, that sees them almost consistently worrying. Is
Yes.
it
And I
possible?
was one of them.
Is
I
it
was one
possible?
of them.
Is it possible for that personality type to
Yes.
actually turn this around for themselves?
Yes. If I can, they can too, because I was a classic A-type warrior, control freak. I was it. If I can do it, everyone out there can do it.
Yeah, that's fantastic news, and you know it's very enlightening to realize that there is I guess an omnipresent larger force at play in the universe. Tell us a little bit about how people can actually harness this and start learning the process, if there is a process.
Well, uh, it is, the process shifts because it's not cookie cutter.
Mm, mm.
And that's why if I tell you I did this and I found enlightenment and you go and do the same thing, you may not. And that is what creates confusion is because it's very dependent on the person, their life journey and the beliefs that they have.
Yeah.
So everyone is going to find it in a different way, but everyone can find it. And it's all about your self-talk and your presence of mind, which is what we call mindfulness. You got to not let your mind run away on autopilot
Yes.
because that's when you don't control whether it is in the asking mode or the answer mode. And invariably, if you're a worrier, when you go off on your autopilot, you are going to land yourself in the question mode. And so you perpetuate the worry, you perpetuate and you slow down the results that should be coming to you. So what is the process? The process is you have to find ways to become mindful
Mm, mm.
because nobody is going to swallow poison if they know that that's what they're doing, unless their
Unless,
intention is to,
yes.
yeah, to kick the bucket. If they
Yeah.
want to kick the bucket, that's a whole other thing. But so when I discovered that my thoughts were poisonous, my thoughts were poisoning my life. So then I said to myself, well, if my thoughts are poisoning my life, that means I need to stop thinking or get a lobotomy.
No. Literally.
Well, the easier, I think the less intrusive one is to
I would
stop
agree.
thinking.
Yeah, I'll go with that one
Right?
too.
Exactly, right? So what I did was, and I didn't actually logically think about it. I was guided to it.
Yeah.
And so you asked, where's this source and how can we harness it? The source is within us. Every cell of our body, of our physical body, contains the energy of source because every cell is alive. Where does that life force come from? It comes from the universe.
Yes.
So you just have to ask the questions because the answers are inside you. That is very true. They are inside you because the energy of the universe is literally powering every cell of your body. So if you close your eyes, and the reason you close your eyes is not because that's a switch that suddenly connects you to the universe. You close your eyes because it cuts out 90% of the distractions that are around you. I mean,
Yes.
if you could pop in some music in your ears and close your eyes, you have probably eliminated 99% of distractions from your environment.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to just remove those distractions so that we can go within, because as long as your five senses are connected to the world around you, you cannot go within. So you've got to find a way to cut that out. When you do, you are able to hear, feel, and get the messages that the universe is always sending you, but you're just not listening to.
Not listening. Tell us a little bit about, as a practitioner, as a great case study yourself, what does a morning look like for you? Do you have a particular routine that you follow to get into, I guess, the right headspace, for lack of better ways to put it?
Absolutely. When I wake up, I have horns on my head. And
I love it.
no, no, no. I'm just like anyone else. I am just like anyone else. I wake up. There's just one thing that I've learned to do differently, and that is to wake up with um, a positive statement, which is the same statement, has been now the same statement for over 15 years. And it is in the workbook Unlimited, that is something that I recommend everyone should go through. Is basically to wake up and tell yourself that you're going to have a good day. So I just wake up and say, I am so grateful that I have this new day. I want my day to unfold with ease. I want good things to come my way. I want to appreciate people, places, and things. I want to be good to myself and others. And I want to end this day feeling happy and satisfied. And I want to remember that all things that I want are possible.
Yeah, that's
So
fantastic.
those are the words, and I have them written on a cue card, because sometimes I wake up and I'm groggy and I don't remember
Me
the
too.
words. So I have them on a cue card on my bedside table. I reach for that. As soon as I am even half awake, I will reach for that. And so after I read that statement or affirmation, or whatever you want to call
Call
it,
it. Yep.
I am ready to start my day. And then my day is just like yours. I get my tea, I take my dog out, I feed my cat.
You do your
uh,
thing, absolutely. Now,
yeah.
we obviously, I guess it's a very good segue into my next question about goal setting. Tell us a little bit about what emotional goal setting is and how this would relate to what we've just talked about.
So I just gave you an example of emotional goal setting.
Hmm.
That pre-paving, those words that I used, are an emotional goal for how I want my day to turn out. You see, what I've discovered is that you need to have an emotional goal, because your logical mind is so powerful that when you deviate from a goal, your
Hmm.
mind says to you, have you decided to forsake the goal, or would you like to go back and get on track again? And so that happens with our activities, but that also happens with our thinking. If I tell myself I want to have a good day and I start getting irritated with someone, my powerful mind is going to remind me that my goal, my emotional goal, is to have a very good day. And if I engage with this bugger, I am going to stop having a very good day. So now I have a decision to make. Do I still want to have a very good day or not? Have I changed my mind and I'm okay now with having a less than satisfactory day? And so we can use this philosophy for everything. I have used this in business with absolutely amazing results, because this is pre-paving. It's called pre-paving, and that word comes from Abraham Hicks's teachings. Is I pre-pave every single client appointment. I pre-paved being on this podcast with you. I pre-pave every important segment of time with very simple wording. It's just that I want to get the most out of this experience, and I want the people engaging with me also to get the most out of it. I want to give value and receive value.
Yes, absolutely. You certainly are doing that. That's for sure and certain. This is one of those topics that could go, like I mentioned at the start of the call, many different layers, many
Mhm,
different dimensions.
mhm.
Certainly not a topic that we can absolutely comprehensively cover in such a short amount of time, relatively speaking. Now, one of the thoughts that I did have is that to condense this knowledge down, you've become a prolific author. Tell us a little bit about your work as an author.
I love writing, and I love writing because writing puts me in the answer mode. I automatically switch from the question to the answer,
Mm-hmm.
as we learn to do in school, right? So
Yep.
I automatically make that switch, and so writing helps me to put answers on paper and
Yep.
share them with everyone. So yes, I absolutely love writing. I have written 15 books so far,
Wow.
and there are more books in my head than I can put down on paper. So I'm pretty sure that I will never stop writing, and more will be coming. Um,
Do you have a
like,
favorite?
oh my God.
That's
Well, that's not a fair question,
not a
right?
fair question. Well, I've only written one book, so I guess that's a fair question for me.
Every book is like birthing a new baby, right? It's
Yes.
got something different about it. It's got its own personality. It's bringing
Yes.
something of its own into the world. So it depends on what people are looking for, and what is appropriate for them at that point in
That
time,
time.
because
Yep.
life changes. Next week life is going to be different, and then something else might be more appropriate. So it's whatever you need at that time, and the right thing will always show up. You
You
just
have
have to trust. That's where the trust comes
comes
in.
back to
Is
trust,
that
doesn't it? And the
Mhm.
faith that it's going to be all good. Now, you have a particular book that caught my eye, which is called Why Me? Tell us a little
Mhm.
bit about that.
Why Me was a blog post that turned into a book. I started, I had lunch one day with a young friend, and he asked me to explain law of attraction to him. And as I did that, I started drawing on the napkin at the restaurant. And and I brought that napkin home, and I said, "Oh, this is, good stuff. I should share this with people on my blog." And so I started writing it as a blog post, but by the time I was finished, it was too long for a blog post and not long enough for a proper, serious, heavy
Published
book.
book. Yep.
Yeah. And so what I did was I created a PDF which anyone can download on my website. But that why me? It's called Why Me because that was the question I always asked myself. Why
Why
me? Why
me?
is this happening to me?
Yep.
Why? Because I'm a good little girl, always follow the rules, never get into trouble. So then am I experiencing abuse and discrimination and, all sorts of
Things. Yep.
things that are unwanted? Why is all of this happening to me? And so I devised the pieces of the puzzle fit together for me, and I figured out why I was getting what I was
Ah.
getting. And that is what we talked about when we talked about intention and attention. My intention was always in the right place. My attention was always in the wrong place.
Wrong place. It's contrast, isn't it? Now, I know that you've helped countless people get the difference and understand it, go from the answers to the answers, and it's certainly making it much clearer for me. So thank you so very much for sharing. Now, you also have some programs, you have some courses, and you also provide coaching. Tell us
Yeah.
about these things.
Well, so I think that baby steps are a good thing. I think that, the uh, education foundation has to be laid properly. And I feel that there's a lot of fluff and noise around law of attraction. And the reason that I've created programs that build one on top of the other in
Mm-hmm.
terms of understanding is because I want to cut out that noise, because there are a lot of people who think they understand law of attraction and actually are doing more damage than helping people, because they're missing out on important nuances that if you don't understand them, you can actually end up pushing away the things that you want. So I have a course called the 16 Fundamental Principles for Manifesting Success, which is the starting place. if you're looking for, if you prefer video teaching, video
Ah,
style
yes, yes.
learning, then that's for those people. For people who prefer to read, the place to start is the Unlimited 40-Day Law of Attraction Workbook, because with that workbook, I teach the workbook every single day. So
Yep.
Monday to Friday, I
You
teach
live
the
it.
workbook. Yes. So I teach it online, and anyone who buys the book can join the workout. Um, I think that those are good places to start. And then it just depends on where you want to go with it. Because if you want to learn more, there's so much
So
more.
much, yeah, absolutely. This has been just a fantastic call. And if you're on the call and you're looking for more information, where are they actually going to go to find it?
To my website, zemahoon.com. So it's ZMAHOON.com.
Excellent.
Everything is on there.
Well,
Yeah.
again, as is normally the case, I'll be making sure that the links back to uh, Zehra and her wonderful books and the courses and the coaching and everything that's going to take you away from the answers to the answers is available for you. And with that all being said, Zehra, thank you so very much for joining me on the My Future Business show today.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us today. If you enjoyed the call, then make sure to subscribe, leave a comment, share us with your friends, and book your spot on the show at myfuturebusiness.com/interviews. And if you're looking for solutions that will help grow your business, then visit myfuturebusiness.com/shop.